When I started out my career, it was very turbulent because it was a turbulent time for the financial industry. And the fear is always, how do I leave certainty for uncertainty? Yes, you don't have to be, careless, but you have to be brave, yeah, right? And I worked in several banks that had issues. So I was almost always out of a job. 3 months into a job, then you're out, then you're up and down, and I got tired of it. So my advice would be, honestly, just try it. Decide that you want to start something. Break it down into little steps. The first step could be, let me pray. The next step could be, let me ask somebody
who has been
what do I do? The next step could be, let me just have a meeting. Just that it's from asking and moving in the circle, and you find that somehow, you find a way to what you're looking for. From day one, I didn't leave any stone unturned in making, I had staked my career, my whole career for filmmaking. If I was going to make a film, I wasn't going to cut corners, no. So I asked a lot of questions. I rode on the shoulders of giants that had gone ahead of me, without mentioning names. They know themselves. Thank you for supporting me, holding my hands. I did a lot of research, and I just simply tried to, not take the industry backwards, but at least make the industry proud for making, no barriers to entry for newcomers and all of that. So I was very deliberate from day one. My question when I started was, how do you get an Oscar?
Wow.
I didn't want anything
That was your
less.
question before you even started.
Yes.
Viewers, can you hear the intentionality, the dream? Your dream was bigger than you, if you ask me, but you still dreamt it.
Yes. I don't know why, but I just said, whatever is worth doing,
do it well.
I asked a lot of questions. I found out that the platforms have standards, certain standards you have to meet for your movie to be able to come, and all that. After all that, I said, okay, let's go, let's make an attempt.
And so tick all the boxes.
And so, yes, at the end of the production, when it was time, because you have to send in your work for evaluation, I was confident to enter my work for as many opportunities as I felt, I could participate in. Yes, we're open and all of that. So was I confident? I don't know, but I was confident that I had a good piece of product. I asked a lot of questions, because I found out that, for example, the platforms have certain requirements, type of equipment, type of camera to use and all of that for them to be interested in considering your work. So I played
into those small details.
Yeah, so I just sort of, all I did was just, work to the prescription. And so when it was time to submit my work for awards, I was confident, and all.
Something at least will happen.
With every sense of humility, and I'm not saying this to brag about it, I'm saying it to tell people to please learn to offer your work with excellence. No matter how small, whatever it is, give the people who are going to receive the work or look at it, show them some respect by putting an effort.
Some respect.
It's
like
disrespectful
that.
to people's time.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Show them some consideration.
This is not even you even feeling sorry for those who have to go through
it's
horrible,
unfair. That's what I think.
Content.
Yes. Sometimes I watch Something's Got Talent, and I see the judges who have come prepared to evaluate the people who come to showcase their talent. And then some acts are unbelievable.
Yeah, especially the Nigerian ones. Sometimes I think they're just for comic relief.
You are worse than me. You're even now bringing it home.
No. I think, no, there's this, is it Idol or something? And I'm like, I think this person was intentional to just make
it's unfair.
Just make a jest.
It's actually unfair to the viewers and
just,
the judges.
And say they have sung and they
exactly.
As a serious. So sometimes I feel that is intentional. It's not. They didn't come to actually do this thing. But yes, you're correct.
I think it's only fair to make a little effort. So.
Your profile mentions your role as a career disruptor. Can you elaborate on the time when the disruption led to a significant challenge? And how did you overcome it?
Well, let's just say a significant challenge. Let's just say, so I worked for many number of years, 23 years or thereabout, and all of that. The usual career hurdle. I think that my biggest career challenges were before and perhaps during my transition. Now, before, I think my career, was a little bit late in starting out from school. my assumption was that from school, I had good grades. From school, I was going to get that good job in oil and gas.
Oh, that was
and all of that. My friends and I, knew I'd leaving school, and so we all finished school, and everybody else got a job except Winifred.
Wow.
1 year, 2 year, 3, and all. And what's going on? And all. So it was rough.
In Lagos.
In Lagos, yes. I remember we had done the National Youth Service in Port Harcourt, my friends and I. Then we came down to Lagos, and everybody got great jobs, and Winifred didn't have a job, and all of that. So it was a struggle. And then even when I did eventually find a job, it was a time when the Nigerian banking industry was very turbulent. So the banks were always having issues. In fact, my friends used to tease me. It was like each time I changed a job, the bank will fold up. So my friends would say, Winnie, don't come to our bank. Don't come and crash our bank.
Are you serious?
So that was the difficult time, really finding my career. But I think the good thing was those years gave me opportunity to kind of explore.
Yeah, to learn.
Yes,
build
and
yourself.
kind of grow. Yeah. So like Paul, I learned to abase and abound. But anyway, so eventually when I did start, get the kind of job that I liked, I play a lot.
Is that the MTN one?
Oh no, I'd worked in a couple of banks before I got into the telco. Before I did FMCG, and then I did oil and gas. That was my last role So I deliberately moved around sectors. Actually, I did the financial sector, I did FMCG, I did telecom, I did and all of that. So when I did get a job, get my job and then started my career, it was smooth for a number of reasons. Number one being, honestly, God helping me in my career. But I'm also somewhat, I said at the start that I'm what you call, in my school days, there was a term for efficient people that study all night. Yes, I'm actually like that. When I'm onto something, my commitment is 110. So I was very serious with my career, and also by God's mercy, that went well. But at the point when I transitioned and completely disrupted, in fact, it was one of the early interviews I had in my career that the lady had described that as a major disruption.
It's a major disruption.
Going from corporate, sector to films and camera and lenses and all of that.
For media. I mean, till today, I'm still like, wow. Wow, not many people can take that leap of faith and believe.
I think it's your passion. When you want something bad enough, your passion, your hunger,
something was calling
overpowers
so
the
much,
fear. That's it. So when I did make that disruption, it was a little bit tricky because I left my career at the peak of it, and then I got into something else at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to pretend. I wasn't going to come
no, that you knew it. You
like an executive.
Yes,
I came in like cap in hand, saying,
"Teach me.
Can somebody hold my hand?
Hold
I need
hold
to get
me."
this right. So it was a bit of a struggle because
and that's the right way to go.
Well, that was what worked for me, and if I do that again, I'll probably still work that way.
Yes,
people are different. Somebody else may just, I really don't know what. I'm just saying what works
for you. It's your story. It's your authentic story. So. But just understanding how business entrepreneurship works and even career works. If you don't have a knowledge about something, the best way to start is from the bottom. Not to show and brag or try to cover it up, because when you do that, people understand, they can see through it and just leave you to suffer by yourself. But you ask people, hold me, teach me, let me learn, and before you know it, look at you recording success immediately. Who can boast of that? Some people have been in this industry for over a decade and have no award, barely, maybe a nomination, maybe. But some do not have, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So it takes the special grace of God and somebody who is extremely intentional to get things extremely right. And I think you brought your ethical in legal, ethical in HR, because those two areas you hardly cut corners because people's lives are at stake.
Absolutely.
And you transfer that same efficiency into filmmaking and see your result. Amazing. Well done.